Go.
G'day again, guys. Episode 3 of our drill gauge construction. We talked about datum edges on the last one. We've cut out our bandsaw with using our bandsaw and our guillotine, our pieces of steel. Previous to that, we, in the last episode, got our bottom datum edge correct. We ran our ruler across it and we looked up at the light, and I said that that was good enough. When I inspect yours, I'll do exactly the same thing and just inspect it and make sure there's no light shining through in excessive areas. So that one looked good. There was no light popping through along that gap where the ruler is. So let's start our second one. Now our second one, we need our set square for 2 seconds. I'll go get a piece of sheet metal and I'll demonstrate how to make sure that, or how to check our set square is exactly 90 degrees. It may have been dropped, it may have been sanded, it may have been abused in some other way, so that it's not square anymore. But we have a technique for checking to make sure that that is exactly 90 degrees. So we can check our 90 degrees on here. So the technique for that is to grab a piece of sheet metal, as my assistant has provided for me. Now, on our piece of sheet metal here, I'll do this with some texter too. You don't have to texture these things up, but I'll be definitely doing it for the video. We'll just make it a bit clearer. Alright, so with that textured area then, I grab my set square. Now I know that this has been cut with the guillotine. This edge here has had a guillotine cut. I can feel that sharp burr there. It's definitely been cut with the guillo, but I want to make sure my square is right. Now with these set squares, your datum edge on these is the block. This is the block, this is the blade. This part here matches up with the datum, so it's your point of origin. So here again, we've got a straight edge. It's going to be our datum edge here. Let's put that on, grab a scriber, make sure the block, you can see me pushing it against it with my thumb there, make sure that's on there, and I ran a line there. Now, I don't know if that's 90 degrees or not at the moment, but to check, all I do is grab my same square, flick it over 180 degrees, and let's see if I can spin that around so you can see that. And you guys should be able to see that that line looks pretty good. Now if I do a scribe line over the top of it again, it may be out a fraction. Like, I reckon I can see 2 individual lines here, and I probably can't see 2 lines there. So maybe it's out a fraction. Let's grab another one and just check. So here's another one. Doing the same thing. Scribe a line, flick it over. And do another one. And if anything, that one's probably almost the same, gets a bit wider at the bottom. So maybe these are out a touch. I'll grab one more. See if we can find one that's perfect. No, here's another one. I'll do this one in between those other 2. Scribe, flick it over. Alright, there we go. So you can see there that the 2 outside ones look a little bit wider. They don't match up perfectly at the bottom there. But that middle one, it lines up all the way. Scribe lines are perfectly on top of each other both ways. So our best file was the last one that I went to use. So I'm going to use that one. And I'm going to put these 2 that are slightly out back in the rack. Now they may have been dropped, they may have been sanded, they may have been, who knows, number of things to damage them. But this one, it's in good nick. Let's have a look at that. Ooh, that's one good point. At the end here, when they get dropped on their block section, a lot of the time they'll hit these corners, and these corners will mushroom, just like a chisel does when it gets that mushroomed end on the edge because you're banging all the time. Same too, these will also mushroom. So sometimes that extra height there is what is making these out of square. So just check, somebody's obviously given that one a hit with the file before. You can see where it looks like it's been, somebody's run a smooth just over the top there just to get that mushroomed effect off it, make it nice and square again. Anyway, I like that one. It's reading really well. Let's use that. We've checked our long datum edge, it's already correct. We then put our block onto our datum edge that is correct. And I run it in like that, and maybe behind that you might see some gap. So it's touching down here where my thumb is, but where my other thumb is, there's a big gap up here. So the area that needs to come off is down this end here. So I'm just going to go through my filing process again. I took my soft jaws out, so just make sure you run your fingers over the top of them. Not good. Not bad. I'll give you a slight touch. A piece of sandpaper right here. Feels better. Great. Alright, so I've got two good soft jaws. Pop them back in. Pop my drill gauge back in. Again, I don't leave it way up here because it'll vibrate and make heaps of noise. Not only will it be making noise, but it'll also be damaging the teeth on my file with all that vibration. Just like in a bandsaw, if you set it up and it's making vibration. Just like if you set up a drill bit and the drill bit isn't sharpened properly and it's vibrating, it's also blunting the drill bit. So vibration not only bad for your job, also bad for your tools. So we don't want it way up there. Let's bring it way down. Now, this is where these offset vices are good because I can drop it right through it. It won't touch anything. If you guys have one of these vices, you can see I can't drop it down all the way. It's still got 50 mil hanging out. Just no way around them, just why we have offset vices and square vices. Let's use our offset one. Well, just quickly while we're talking about these vices, this vice here is Australian made vice and it's fabricated. So this piece here has been a separate piece of steel to this piece and to this piece and to this piece and to this piece. They're all separate bits and you can see the welds on them. These bits here I'm running on my finger, that's where they're being welded together. So this is a fabricated vice, as opposed to this other one right behind us here. This one's still an offset vice, but it's a cast vice. So it's been in a liquid metal form and it's been poured into a cast, and then the cast is split and the cool down piece is taken out. This area here has been machined, so it's nice and flat. So what will have happened after it's been brought out and cooled down, then it goes to the machining centre and they've put a nice flat surface on through here. And it's two separate pieces, so you can see how that's one bit for the cast, two bits that are cast. The downside to the cast ones is they're more brittle than a fabricated one. So these will crack and be just rubbish basically after a while. Sorry, if they do crack there. You can repair them, but they're very tricky to repair. Whereas a fabricated one, it won't crack. It's mild steel bends. So if I hit that with a hammer a million times, it doesn't matter. Yes, it'll mushroom, but it will not crack and will last. Now, that's mainly probably the reason why I showed you before there's more vibration up this end than there is this end, because it's been tightened up so many times that it's spread a little bit this way. Alright, let's continue. Put our piece down to the right height. slow as we can go while not cutting our fingers on the jaws when we go past. Also, just make sure with these soft jaws, sometimes they'll be dropped and you'll see sharp corners. Just be careful you don't have too many sharp corners for when you're running your fingers past you, cut your knuckles or something like that. I will set this up a little bit different. I'm going to pop it just out the side of the drill gauge. And the reason for that is because I don't have to take it out every time. All I have to do now is go, yep, I need to take more off this end. So this one is out by at least a degree. So I'm going to start with the bastard. We need probably about a full millimetre off this end and nothing off this end. Just put a bit of texture on here so we know that nothing off that green end. Don't touch that green end when we're filing. I can see the hacksaw marks up the top here. There's nice parallel lines running through it. Those parallel lines I don't want to see once the datum edges are right, so just make sure. Do you want to do a cameo appearance, David, and do a little speech as the old engineering teacher? No? Alright, oh sorry, I've taken a fair bit off that, but that was with the bastard. Let's grab the second cut and just take a little more off it just before I check. It looks very rough with the bastard and you can feel it is quite rough when you run your finger along there. I don't want a rough spot that is going to show me light in little parts there, so I'm going to run the second cut over. Second cut, you can probably hear it's not cutting as much off, but it is giving it far flatter finish. Again, I'm using a very sharp, very steep angle here, so I'm covering more material in each pass. You can see that green text is still there, and let's check it. It's still a 1/4 of a mil high at this textured end, so I still need more off here. I'm not going to go back to the bastard though. I need a 1/4 of a mil. I can do that with the second cut pretty quickly. Alright, let's check, see if I've gone too far. No, still a bit gappy down this green end. I'll keep going. Second cut, not clogged, let's get going. Oh, actually, 2 seconds, I'll grab a wide brush. Now just a standard wire brush will do the job. You've got to look at which way the teeth are facing, and you guys can see that they're cut on a diagonal this way. So don't go opposite diagonal, follow the diagonal, and you just running through. It really wasn't clogged up, but I just want to do a bit of a demo. There's a little bit of stuff in a couple of these teeth here. You might be able to see it. Wire brush. Yep, they came out straight away. Alright, now, that's a wire brush, not really what it's made for. This, on the other hand, is a file card, and that's what these are made for. Shorter bristles, they will dig into the teeth a lot better. Generally, you can do it with a standard one, but if you have a file card, all well and good. Same. File card, versus just a normal wire brush. Both will do the same job. This one does a better job. Most people don't have a file card though, so don't worry if you don't, just use a wire brush. Check that. You can see all the metal I'm taking off there, all those little bits of swarf just coming out of those teeth. And we're getting closer, I'm still not there. Just quickly, one other option before I go too much further. I've got my second cut again, and we wire brushed that a second ago. It's really clean now, not clogged up in any of the teeth. If I was to use this on the lathe or on some brass or some aluminium, then you might want to load up your teeth with chalk. So loading the teeth, just grab your piece of chalk, run it back a few times like that. You don't take too much chalk off. And when you file now, 1, 2, 3, took a few cuts off there. It's still got a lot of chalk in there. If this was brass, it would try and clog it up. And at this point, all you do to declog it is find a nice better piece of metal and go tap, tap, tap. And it taps all that chalk off it, and any of those bits of brass that think they want to get stuck will also come out. So that's your other option if you don't want these to be clogging up all the time. But check it again. I don't want to do more work than I have to. Nope, still need a bit more. Oh, we're getting close now. Very close. I reckon I can only see a little bit of light just up this end here still. I'll give it another 10 passes and check it again. I'm still using the second cut. I haven't gone to the smooth yet because it still does need material off it. I'm not just trying to get a nice finish. I want to actually remove some material, so I don't want to waste all my time. Second cut. Block, blade, let's put the block against the datum edge we already have right. Oh. I reckon that's a pass. So when I look at that, you put the block against your good datum edge that you've already got right and slide it down until the blade just touches. Oh, I can see a bit of light now. I'm not happy, guys. I reckon I can still see a bit of light just in that little section there. I'm going to do another 10 passes in this area here. Try and flatten it off a little bit more. Remember to keep your file as perpendicular to the job as possible. You don't want it angling either way. Perpendicular, 90 degrees. All right, let's continue. Alright, now I reckon I'll probably be happy with that. So what I'm going to do, finish it off, is grab the smooth and do another couple of passes with the smooth. It looks nice, but the smooth is only going to give it a better finish again. Again, it won't take very much off, so I'm not too worried about going too deep with it. It's not a great smooth, it's a little bit worn out, I reckon. Alright. Yep, I'm happy with that. I've pulled it along, bring it down. There we go. Yep, I'm happy. That's good, no gap. When I look up at the fluoros, I can see nice consistent light through the whole length there. It's not a low spot in the middle or a low spot at the ends. Just nice, consistent light through there. That's what I want to see. So we now have our two datum edges right. Just quickly, after you have filed, a lot of the time it will leave burrs both sides. When I'm running my finger around that, you can probably even see maybe along some of those edges there. A couple of burrs, it definitely feels it with my nail there. You can see how my fingernail gets caught. There you go, there's a big burr there, my fingernail's actually getting caught. Now, to remove those, again, I talked about chamfering before. A chamfer is 45 degrees. So if that's 90 degrees, and that's 0 degrees, 45 degrees. 0, 45, 90. So all I want to do is hold this on a 45, and just do a couple of gentle passes through there. I only want to take that burr off, I don't want to take too much material off. 1, 2, beautiful. Do the other side. 1, 2, oh, see that big burr coming off in like a big barbed section there? That's what I'm trying to remove. That was what I was catching my fingernail on. 45 degrees, 1, 2, 3. Fantastic, that barb's gone, everything looks good, feels nice, and we've chamfered both edges now, edge, edge. All right, how long have we been going for?
23.
23. That'll do it. Thanks guys, we'll see you next episode.